everyone, I'm Neve and welcome back to my channel. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Today I'm going to show you guys how to make a fast and convenient plant-based sushi. So to start off, this is a sushi mat. You will need something like this, but you don't have to have this. You can also use a paper towel, or if you want to be a little bit more sustainable, you can use a dishcloth like this. So the reason you're going to need that is because you need to tightly roll your sushi, and it just makes things a lot easier. I actually don't really like using the sushi mats ordinarily just because they're kind of hard to clean with all the threads that are in them. A paper towel is far easier, so if you're looking for something super quick and convenient, you can definitely go with that. So okay, to start off, you're going to need some Nori sheets. This is the brand that I get. This is Sushi Nori, and it comes in these sheets. It's super delicious. I like that brand because it's a little bit cheaper than the other ones, and it's really good quality and really tasty. So the next thing you're going to need is you're going to want to have your rice. I'm using brown rice because I just like the flavor better, honestly. I know it sounds kind of weird with sushi, but I just much prefer it. Also, it's a little bit healthier. You can really use any rice that you want. So, you know, sushi rice obviously is the thing that people would choose most of the time, but I've also seen people just use long grain white rice or really just anything you have on hand. We always have rice in the fridge, so it's a really easy thing just to grab. I will say if you are cooking rice specifically for the sushi making, that it can be problematic. You need to make sure it cools down completely, because otherwise when the hot rice hits the sushi, or hits the nori, it gets a weird fishy flavor that a lot of people don't like, and it kind of also warps the sushi and doesn't really look very appetizing. So yeah, definitely go with some cold stuff. So then you just press it in like this. Now I'm using a plastic spatula because this really doesn't stick at all to the rice, which is great, but you can honestly just use something like a spoon. And if it is sticking a little bit, which usually it doesn't, I've used spoons before, you can just wet it a little bit and then it won't stick as easily. So you really just press it and make sure that it's equally spread out and that it's an even level all across the sushi, and maybe try to keep the edges a little neat. Now if there's any patches in there, just, you know, fill them in, and you know, just try to keep it sort of even, although it doesn't really matter. I mean, if you're just going to eat it for yourself and you're not serving it to other people, you don't have to be too precious about it. Now, one of the things I use all the time for making sushi, which makes it so much easier to make it in a fast and convenient way, is fermented foods. This brand I absolutely love, and I normally don't use this. This is a beet fermented food, but normally I do their golden turmeric sauerkraut, and if you can get that, definitely try it. I think this is a Maryland company though, so it's not really in every state yet as far as I know. But you can really just use any fermented food. Just taste it ahead of time and see, do you think this would pair well with sushi? Probably most of them would go well, except for maybe, you know, pure sauerkraut might not taste that great. So I'm just going to take some of these out. And normally the fermented foods that you get would come in more of a shredded form, and you can really just kind of heap them on there. But this one, since it's cut like this, it's almost more like the julienne vegetables that they use in sushi, just like a lot thicker. So put some of that on there. Maybe I'll even put a little bit more because I like a lot of fermented foods. Although I will say, you know, if you have teeth sensitivity to acidic foods, you might have a problem with fermented foods too. They are very acidic, and you should also make sure when you eat any acidic foods like fruit juice or fermented foods that you know, at least rinse your mouth with water afterwards to get all that acid off. So that's that. Now, my next secret weapon that I use is tahini. This is fantastic because when making sushi, you usually want to have some fat in there because it just gives it a more robust flavor. When you're eating the sushi that's not plant-based, the fat is coming from the sashimi or the raw fish that you're eating. But in a plant-based dish, you obviously can't have raw fish, so you're going to have to get the fat from somewhere else. So traditionally, what people use as a fat replacement is avocado, which is also super delicious. However, it does take a little bit more time. So in order to shave some more time off there, I like to put in nut butters. So tahini is a sesame seed nut butter basically, and getting rice everywhere. So this brand is amazing. They are on Amazon, and I would highly recommend them just because they do this squeezable bottle, which makes it so much easier. Now, it also does make it more dangerous because you can basically put it on everything in large quantities, and it's super delicious, and you could easily get very fat just like drinking tahini. But highly recommend it. So if you're trying to lose weight, you know, maybe don't put so much on, but most plant-based people are fine on weight, and so just, you know, have whatever you want. So I just like to put a little bit over my, that was maybe a lot bit. I like to put some on my fermented foods. Then what I also like to do, you can actually do this at the beginning too, is I like to put some of this on. This is some kelp granules, but you can get it with, you know, all different kinds of seaweed in there, which is really good to get a variety of the minerals and everything that come in seaweed. And so it's also delicious. But the reason that I add it is not just for nutrients, it's also because I don't salt the rice or anything, and this has a little bit of a salty flavor, so I like to just put some on the rice and give it that little bit of saltiness that it's lacking, so that the whole dish is more flavorful. Okay, so the last thing that I like to do might seem a little bit strange, but I actually like to put greens on my sushi. This is arugula. It looks a little bit different from your regular arugula just because it's from a local farm, so it's a little bit unusual looking, but I like to put the greens on in place of the julienne vegetables, mostly just because greens are super healthy and they're really flavorful, and arugula has this really peppery flavor that I absolutely love. And so I kind of just give them a little bit of a squeeze first so they're not as bulky, and then I put them on and just kind of press them down. I know this might seem really odd, but it's actually super delicious, and I just do it literally all the time. Also, it's a lot faster than julienning vegetables, so I'm just more likely to make sushi when it's as easy as this. So okay, so now we're getting to the roll. So make sure that you get all of your food and pull up the lip like this and kind of press all the food into the roll, and then just keep pressing and turning, and you want to put a little bit of pressure on here and keep putting pressure in here, and you roll it until you get to about here, and then you can peel this back. Oh, that needs to go a little further. You can, okay, and then once you can get your fingers on here, you can just roll it like this. Now you're going to leave a little bit of space. Sorry, there's like a little bits of rice getting everywhere. So there's a little bit of space here, and this is where you're going to put the water. So you want to have it ahead of time. You want to have this ready so that when you start rolling, that you can then just immediately put the water on here. Now make sure you get a decent amount on, because you're going to want it to sort of soften up a bit so that it gets sticky, and then it will stick to the other side. Okay, so that seems like it's a good amount. So now I'm just going to roll over and kind of hold it there and press it for a little bit and just make sure that that's stuck. Okay, that seems pretty stuck. So now what you can do is, if this starts peeling up a little bit, really easy, you just take a little bit more and you just go over the part that's like not sticking, just get it wet, and it will eventually stick. And there you have it. Okay, so this is your sushi roll. What people normally do is cut this up into little slices, which I'll do in just a moment. But what you can do is, if you're in a hurry, and I often do this, is I just eat this as it is. I've always called it a sushi burrito. It's really delicious. Also, if you're in a real hurry, you don't even have to put the roll together. You can just put it all in a bowl and eat a sushi bowl. So there are even faster ways to do it. It's a really quick and easy meal. But I'm going to show you how to cut it up, because it is really nice to eat it cut up too. Okay, so I'm just going to show you guys how to cut up this roll. All you need to do is get a sharp knife. The sharper the better. Also, you can wet it, and it makes it easier to cut the sushi so it's not getting all stuck to the rice. So I'm going to cut this end bit a bit longer because it's a little bit loose. And if you have that problem, just cut it a little bit longer and it should be fine. Now the end bits usually have everything coming out of them, and it can look really pretty, so you can use that to decorate your plate. And then, now I've actually made these quite thick. I put quite a bit of rice in it. You can make it a much smaller, more delicate roll by just putting less rice in. It just really depends on how much you want to eat. You know, do you want more sushi rolls with less rice in it, or do you want fewer sushi rolls with more rice in them. So let's see here. And you can cut any thickness you want. I prefer them thinner just because, you know, it's too hard to eat sometimes when they're so big. So, okay. Now I'm just gonna get a little plate. Okay, so then you can just arrange them in on a plate in a way that looks pretty to you. This isn't a great color because the beets, the color in the beets isn't great, but when I use the golden turmeric, it's this beautiful yellow color. So if presentation is important to you, like if you're serving to any guests, then you're gonna wanna be paying attention to stuff like that. Okay, so this is our final product, and all we need to do now is do our soy sauce. Now, I'm allergic to soy sauce. It's one of the top 10 allergens in the United States, so a lot of people are allergic. So what I use instead is this coconut aminos. It's really delicious, and it actually tastes very much like soy sauce. So you can just get a little bowl like this and put in as much as you want, and then you can serve it on the side, or you can put it in like this. And there you have it. You have yourself a beautiful lunch, really tasty, really healthy, super fast, and great to eat. So let's have a little taste here. Yes, that is super tasty. Very good for lunch or for a light dinner. And you can make a whole big plate of these. You can have, this one roll is probably not going to be enough calories for a lunch, especially for, you know, a larger person who consumes a lot of calories. But I usually make a couple of these for lunch, and sometimes I might even make 5, and then if my husband wants to eat more, he can have more. They're so fast to make that, you know, there's no harm in making a few rolls. But this would be good for a snack, light lunch, light dinner. Yeah, really enjoy. So hope you guys liked this recipe. Please hit the like button if you liked it. Please subscribe if you're new, and don't forget to comment down below because all of these things really help my channel to grow. Thank you guys all so much for watching, and I'll see you all on the next one.